want you to imagine you're a 50-year-old Jordanian woman, and your brothers tell you, after your parents pass away, that you won't inherit anything. Now imagine you're a 37-year-old Yemeni woman being told that you need a man to sign for your company registration. Or any other 12-year-old girl not knowing that the law would protect her against early marriage and becoming a child bride. Heartbreaking stories like these are all too common in the Arab world. And what makes the situation worse is how helpless women feel during this situation. Why helpless? Because whether it's discrimination, it's unequal pay, or any other sort of harassment, women and girls in the Middle East are often unaware of their civil rights and legal requirements. I would say one of the main reasons for this is the complex system, as you want to understand, as you want to know actually, the complex nature of our legal systems. They are a mix of traditional legal traditions like civil law, common law, Islamic law. This lack of knowledge and awareness makes it very challenging for women to pursue justice and seek any forms of recourse. In my research, I have identified 3 specific challenges related to women and the legal system in the Middle East. The first is the lack of access to information and resources. Oftentimes, laws and regulation are not readily available to the public. I don't know if you can find them. And no effort has been made to make them easier to access, like legal clinics or any other source of legal resources. I'll give you an example. In countries like Lebanon, you'll be surprised that some women are not aware that they're entitled to a percentage of inheritance. And if they knew that, they have trouble finding and accessing any legal services to assert their rights. Second, the laws in the region can be exceedingly complex and difficult to understand, even by lawyers. More importantly, there is discrepancies between the written laws and their actual application, making it very confusing for both the public and the lawyers. Another example, some countries in the region like Tunisia, they have laws that prohibit domestic violence and they provide legal remedies for the victims. However, the actual implementation and enforcement of these laws can be very inconsistent, and I've seen it. The third one is systemic inequalities. Women in the region face a vast range of economic, political, legal, all sort of inequalities. According to the World Economic Forum, if we keep the space in the Middle East, it's gonna take us 115 years to cover the gap between men and women. Okay, so why does inequality matter in this context? Well, not only the existing laws and policy are discriminatory by their very nature, but the pressures from the families and society at large, they prohibit women and girls from pursuing justice in the name of 2 things I think you know about: shame and honor. Another example, there are a lot of laws that prohibit sexual harassment around the Middle East. There are laws that prohibit sexual harassment in Egypt. However, enforcement of these laws is very weak, and women often avoid talking about their experiences just because they're deeply afraid of being publicly shamed. And we know people who've done that. I'm sure we all have our stories. This is the actual situation in the Middle East. It's not only in Lebanon or Tunis or Masr, It's all over the region. The sad reality is that women who speak out about harassment, discrimination, or assert their rights, they are often stigmatized by their families, societies, or co-workers. Sometimes they are even violently attacked, and we keep seeing this in the news. Which is why many Arab women in the world simply give up seeking justice, since the outcome is uncertain. No, that's not true. The outcome is not uncertain. The only certainty they know is that their names will be dragged through the mud. Fortunately, on the bright side, there are 3 ways we can address these challenges. First, provide easier access to information and resources. Countries across the Arab world should make all laws accessible online. So we talk more about transparency and accountability in the legal systems for change. They should also significantly increase legal aid and support to help women and everyone else navigate these complex systems. 2, simplify laws and facilitate enforcement. Complicated and incomprehensible laws and regulation, they should be revisited and simplified to make them more accessible, make them user-friendly. This includes clear and concise explanation of the laws in very simple terms. Not difficult, it's not a lot to ask. So when women have easier access to legal resources, they will be equipped to protect themselves, they will seek redress for any harm they face, and they will participate more fully in the society. Finally, increase equality. By advocating for equality, we can bring attention to the challenges women in the region face and promote changes in laws, policies, and even societal norms that actually restricts their rights and opportunities. This includes, of course, engaging with policymakers, working with civil rights organizations, promoting public awareness and education. I'm going to wrap up by saying the stories I mentioned earlier are not hypotheticals. They are real-life examples of struggles among my family and my friends. It's painful to know that Arab women still struggle deeply to achieve justice. But this is not a problem that can be solved by few individuals or few organizations. Legal reforms requires a collective effort, like from all of us, to make a meaningful difference in the lives of women and girls in the Middle East. We need to work together to create societies where every woman is aware of her legal rights. Not only that, but she has the power to exercise them. How beautiful that is. A society where women are treated with respect and dignity, and all their contributions are valued and recognized. We need to challenge the systemic inequalities that held women and girls back for far too long, honestly. And let's not forget, we should support the brave women who are actually leading the charge for change in their societies right now. They are the ones fighting for a better future, and we must stand with them and amplify their voices. Thank you. On time. Yes, of course.
All right, thank you so much to Lynn. Do we have any questions from the audience? I have a hand over here and over here.
Lynn, thank you very much for this very interesting talk. I've just have a question for you. I just came back from Saudi Arabia, and I saw actually a lot of change. What's happening? I was in Al-Ala, and women are behaving very differently. I also was in Bahrain last year. They wanted me to come and be somebody who young designers aspire to as an Arab woman. I did not realize it was like what you were talking in terms of the suppression and all of that. So there's a lot of women out there that are leading, and I want to know what do you think about the change that's happening in Saudi now with the women?
Yeah, that's a great question. And
I don't know if it's topical or it's really deep-rooted. There's still a lot of problems.
well, there's always a lot of problems. It's
Because
the Middle East.
on the facade, it looks fantastic.
But you know what? It's a start.
Yeah, absolutely.
I cannot complain. We cannot complain. It's a start. As long as they have the intention of changing it, even if we change the laws, you need the social behavior to change, and that takes time. So what will we do? This is where we come with educating people. We change the laws. You have a lot of people who will reject it. Traditional families will think that this is wrong, this is not Islamic, this is not whatever. Islamic is just an example. But then the government should educate the people. Like, why is it important? Why is your daughter working is important? Why is your daughter driving and have freedom of mobility is important? Like, how is that will affect her, your family, and her future? So what's happening now is a positive change. The reasons behind it, not my problem right now, but it is happening. And bit by bit, we're going to actually deal with the whole situation. It's going to take a while because we covered like health. We're doing great in health in the Middle East. We're doing, well, we were in education doing great until the pandemic. Now, like even in Lebanon, the situation is so bad. So we're improving in certain pillars, but political, we don't have anyone representing. That's another problem. Legal, we don't understand. Like Arabic is so difficult to, like laws in Arabic are so difficult. And how can we, like, women are afraid of lawyers. They're afraid of the law. They're afraid of fighting. Again, we go back to the shame and the honor. Like, I'm gonna fight my brother for my right for the land. No, I'm not gonna do that. That's a shame, haram, aib. So once we move beyond this mentality, we'll be better off.
Is that with even the educated women?
Even educated. You'll be surprised. I've talked to educated women in the cities. I talk to women in small countryside. It's the same, especially on the legal side. In the cities, they have more access to resources than the one in a small town out of nowhere. But the problem is the same. The fear is the same because the culture is the same.
That's very interesting. I saw a lot of empowered women. I need to add that. I saw a lot of empowered Arab women in Saudi when I was there and around the region.
Yeah, so I've met a lot of them. They're amazing. Then that's another layer. It's a class system as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You tactfully walked around the main issue that I consider is the main problem in the Arab world, is religion. And you were very optimistic that it's going to take 115 years for this change to happen. I disagree with you. I think it is going to take much longer unless we address the main issue, which is religion. Is your take on religion can be limited in the next 115 years so we can get out of this problem we're in?
Okay, great question. But the 115 is a World Economic Forum number, is not mine. I don't have this much data and time to collect all this, so I wish I did. Well, we're moving beyond religion. We give an example of Saudi Arabia. They're trying to move beyond Islamic laws, and they're trying to improve the civil laws and the common law in the country. So they're trying to improve the situation for women in the country. So if we start to separate religion from government, from law, we're better off, yes. Doing that, yeah, not in 115 years, not even like in 200 or 300 years. It's part of our culture. It's ingrained within each one of us. But how do we approach it? That can be changed in the 115 years.
Let's all give Lynn Mounzer another round of applause, please.